This is your wife. She broke her wiener?
Now we get Scary Movie 3, which is a switch up in creative teams.
Yeah.
And we
Wayans
have,
are gone.
The Wayans are gone.
Do you know why?
And it was it was a dispute with sort of creative control and money mainly because, like I said, the first one was a massive success. I don't think they were appropriately reimbursed for their work on the first one, and I think for the second one the same thing happened, so they decided to completely part ways with Miramax and not work on the third one at all. Complete breakdown of relationship, it seemed, which is a shame, but
they prioritize the other great movies of the 2000s, White Chicks.
Exactly. This was this not only then brought us David Zucker's brilliant Scary Movie 3, but then we got the Wayans brothers' brilliant White Chicks. So it all worked out in the end. So thank you to Miramax and the Weinstein brothers for underpaying the Wayans.
You want to go on record thanking the Weinstein brothers.
Who in Hollywood hasn't? Everyone's got that dirt on them.
All right.
I'm not going to stand up here and call him God like Meryl Streep. But
my agent Kevin Uvain and God, Harvey Weinstein.
Now, what's interesting about this one, when I did a bit of research, I couldn't believe the name I saw in the credits.
Oh my God!
Scary Movie 3.
I know.
You know exactly what I'm going to say.
Craig
As
Mazin.
aforementioned, I know, David Zucker, obviously, aforementioned, what a great asset to bring into a film franchise like this. And then on the writing team, like you just said, Craig Mazin. What the fuck is he doing in here? And what a fall from grace this fella has had.
Oh, come on. Craig Mazin of Chernobyl and The Last of Us fame.
Who knew he was funny?
Well, I mean, we all know that the funniest line penned by Craig Mazin would come way later in his career with the "I am gonna be a dad" line from
Maybe
The Last of Us season 2.
I completely misinterpreted it. It was a scary movie, satire joke. It's Last of Us, and it went completely over my head.
But yeah, I knew about Craig Mazin's involvement because I remember when I watched Chernobyl, I was I was so impressed.
Did it have the opening credits from the creators of Scary Movie 3?
In the trailers, there was, but no, like I obviously looked up the creators of the show because I was so impressed by it, and so I looked up Craig Mazin and I was like, oh my God, he started off like doing parody movies and scary movie and like all this stuff, and I'm like, I was so inspired.
Oh, he started off like making art.
Yeah, that's a one way to look at it, but yeah, I think is great. Like he did a great job with this one. He captured the idea. Well, it wasn't the only credited writer. Pat Proft is another of the credited writers on this one, but like he captured the vibe of the first one. There is a coherent through line like the first one, and I like the second one. It's just such a nice surprise, this movie. I thought it's actually really funny.
It does what that first one does so well, and it really hones in on Signs and The Ring, as it's like, this is going to be
an 8 Mile for some reason.
8 Mile, which is so random, but it works. It fucking works so well for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, really having those two strong films to sort of, that gives you sort of a bit of the plot framework of the film. And we'll open with our cold open, which this one is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought Pamela Anderson and who is it,
Jenny McCarthy, maybe.
That's it, Jenny McCarthy. That's her. And they just play these two like perfect like blonde bimbo types who have just watched the Ring tape for the first time, and they get a call about when they're going to die in 7 days, and it's really, really well done, this opener.
Yeah, when they start like beating on each other, it's like, because Jenny actually is the one who watched the tape like 7 days ago, and then they start talking about it, and like they are afraid that like the TV waves
she's-
will make their fake boobs explode and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's another perfect example of an opener where there's like a gag every second, just like even just a visual one.
She's on the phone, and just for some reason, she's like scratching her hair with a toe. Like she somehow gets her like
Yeah,
the
and
toe all the
then-
way around. It's just like
and
silly,
then the
but so
phone
funny.
starts ringing, and they hear it and they're like, oh my god, who is this? And they start walking towards it, like they're in the corridor, and there's this very nice shot of them approaching the phone from the back of the corridor.
Yeah.
And it's like so weird. Yeah, such a big house, just one phone. And it's like it's so
yeah,
random.
that's such a good joke. Such a good joke.
That's,
And well, just like you mentioned, it's really well shot.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
this, it just the same for the first one as well, and throughout this film, like it's really beautifully looking and has like a nice timeless look. And like you said, I think, did you say the first one was definitely shot on film, right? But it looks the same for this, to be fair.
Yeah, no, they're I think all the at least the first three, it was that period of time where digital wasn't the norm, and it looks better, and also there's so much creativity also in making fun of like filmmaking tricks and cliches of the genre, like the first one. But like here, we have that scene where Charlie Sheen is introduced, and he hears this girl screaming, and he comes out of the house, and then we have this iconic shot that is being used in many memes since, where he's like he's looking around, and we have this camera that's whipping around him, and there's like this whip sound effect.
The sound effects are so funny.
And he is literally disoriented by the movement, and he's like, he doesn't know where he's going. And I think there's so many little moments like this that are just visually funny. They're not addressed at all in it's just using the cinematography and the directing in a funny way. And I think that's way more creative and interesting to me than I am gonna puke on you now, and that's funny.
For sure. And I think that's the David Zucker influence, which is why I was surprised. I thought David Zucker was involved in the films, but I thought he was involved in the first one still as well.
No, he wasn't.
No, I know, but it's because it's very much his style, like you said, like that adding those little like whip pan sound effects into that scene of when George and Charlie Sheen's character are circling each other constantly. It's so good and unnecessary, but I'm sure that is very much the kind of airplane hot shot style.
Yeah, it was I wrote here, it was Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer. Those are the two writers that were initially attached to the first Scary Movie before the Wayans kind of like became the auteurs, let's say, behind the project. Yeah. And then they came back for this one, and they actually they wrote a script for Scary Movie 3, and the title was Scary Movie 3 Episode 1 Lord of the Brooms, and it was supposed to be more of like a Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter kind of thing. And fortunately, they decided to go in a different direction, but I think a lot of stuff they wrote for this ended up in the Epic movie. You know that one? The one where like
I do.
The parody.
They take the piss out like Narnia, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they have Pirates of the Caribbean and all that jazz. Yeah. So and apparently at some point Kevin Smith was attached to the project. Like the backstory of these movies are insane. Anyway, this movie's funny. And
we get sort of we're coming with the new creative team. We get sort of a new cast here as well. We still keep, which I'm glad we do, we keep Cindy and we keep Brenda, because they are the core of these films. Their friendship is really what these films are all about.
Oh my god,
to be
yeah.
fair.
Even though they're completely different characters in each fucking movie.
yeah. And we get the inclusion of Charlie Sheen, and my god, and also his brother Simon Rex, who's subsequently gone on to have he's been in loads of really good films over the last few years. Those two make this for me. They are so fucking funny, and it's just like Charlie Sheen's like deadpan delivery. He's almost just like playing himself, and he's like lost on set. He's just like wandering around half drunk in a lot of this stuff. And it works so great. And I think the contrast with Simon Rex's character playing, like a version of Eminem for some reason who works on a farm
And it's not
is
at the
just
beginning.
brilliant.
He's just the Joaquin Phoenix guy from Signs, and he's dressed like him and he's
Yes.
acting like him. And then in the next scene,
Yeah.
he's dressed like Eminem and he's going off to the city to do a rap battle. And I'm like, this is so out of left field. It's perfect.
And we get in the opener, not the cold open, but as we're introduced to these characters on the farm, we get my favorite joke in the whole franchise.
Oh my God.
And do you think you can guess what it might be?
Okay, so in the opener, we have Charlie Sheen peeing and hearing the screaming of the girl from outside, and every time he peeks around from the door, the peeing stops and then starts again. That's pretty funny. And then he falls down, of course. Then he comes out, and we have that shot with the whipping sound effect, as we mentioned, and then they go into the field, and the Charlie Sheen is running through the field, and of course all the crop is hitting him in the face and in the crotch, and it's really funny. They get to the girl is spitting out crops because he kneels down next to the girl, and she's like,
He should have had like a whole like sweet corn related dish like in his hand after that,
Yeah.
like rather than just spitting out loads of corn. I thought that would work.
and
great,
of
but,
course we have the reveal of the crop circles in the field, and
Yeah.
the Eminem guy being like, oh my God, what do they want, what does this mean? And the crop circle just says, attack here with an arrow. Is that the joke that you love?
It's not the joke, because I mean it's literally, I think, the next scene from that. It's when the local sheriff comes to visit.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
and we get the introduction of like the the signs element of his wife is dead and he's struggling
He's
with
supposed
his
to be a
faith.
priest, but he left. He's not a priest
yeah.
anymore.
And they're walking to her car, and because Artery's reported the crop circle, and her hat just slowly gets bigger each time we cut back to her.
Yeah,
And then
that's
there's
the
a
best
shot when
scene.
she's in the car, she can barely fit into the car because the hat is so big. And this just gets me every single time.
Yeah.
It's the framing of it, the performances. The woman is fantastic because she just
It's just
doesn't bat an eyelid to it whatsoever.
And for all this so-called phenomena.
Maybe you're right. It's probably just appraisals.
And when I get through with them, I doubt you'll be seeing anything strange on this farm for a long time. We'll see. You all right, Tom?
just like deadpan delivery, and this is the kind of like prop humor we were mentioning with the first one that comes back with a vengeance in this one, and it's just hilarious and like nonsensical. I love that, and it would have been my guess, but you are mistaken, because before we get to her and the best scene in the movie, we actually have a scene with Anna Faris reporting on the crop circles. And we are introduced to her.
Right,
She's now
okay.
a reporter, and she works in this place. There's like a channel that doesn't care about news. It only wants to talk about murder and sex. And everyone just like breaks out in like a sexy dance at some point for no reason. And she actually is more of like
And her like news co-presenter is Jeremy Piven. That's it. Jeremy Piven's in this, and he's very funny again. So deadpan, just everything he does, he just completely ignores her.
Yeah, he does a Bruce Almighty kind of like joke at some point where like teleprompter is telling him what to say.
Oh yes.
And yeah.
But this would be is this pre Bruce Almighty?
I mean, if Bruce Almighty copied Scary Movie 3, I'd be surprised.
They actually came out the same year, so it's up for debate there.
Yeah,
It's up
maybe
for
they
debate.
knew behind the scenes that this scene would be iconic, and they parodied it. But the Anna Faris segment of the movie is more of like a Sixth Sense kind of The Ring kind of thing. She's
Yes.
taking care of this kid, and oh my god,
The
it's
kid is
so funny.
The kid is so funny.
Like everything with the kid.
I
is-
see you're kneeling in dog shit.
Yeah, everything with the kid is fucking hilarious, and also he
Your
gets
period
hurt.
starts in 3, 2, 1. He's so weird.
You could be just quoting lines from this guy to me for an hour, and I would just be here laughing the whole time, and not complaining. But yeah, and he keeps getting hurt in various ways. Like they keep just like running him over and throwing him out the window, and it's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, my favorite is when he's playing Yahtzee with George, and they're like, "Oh, why are we both passed out on the table?" And they realize they both got Yahtzee, and they stand up and get hit by the ceiling fan and get knocked out again.
Yeah. That there's a lot of stuff. I remember watching this, but I only remember like bits and pieces from when I first saw it as a teenager. And there's so much stuff that I appreciate now that I would have not appreciated back in the day. Like fucking George Carlin is in this movie. Like,
Yeah, oh my god, and he's great. He's great in this as well.
he plays the architect from The Matrix, and then he has this scene that is just like this monologue basically, that like every line is just hilarious, like playing on the backstory from The Ring. Kevin Hart is in this.
But like little fucking probably 14-year-old me was like, this guy is gonna be a star. Like,
And he was.
He was so funny in the film, and like just a very unique style of
The
comedy.
hype man.
And the hype man. I just knew, I was like, this guy, like, how is this guy not in more stuff? And then he went on to become who he was. But him and what's the other fucking big guy?
The friend that is in love with Eminem.
Anthony Anderson,
Oh, yeah.
who very funny actor, and a lot of plays a
The
lot
hood
of
got
these
your
kind
back,
of
man.
roles. Yeah, and they have one of the greatest sort of film arguments ever, talking about whether his aunt has rats or mice, and they're like, but what if a rat goes outside, does it become a mouse, and if a mouse is inside, is it a rat? And it's just this whole philosophical conversation about when does a rat become a rat and a mouse becomes a mouse, and it's hilarious. It's
And
great.
then later on, they have another argument when they're talking about the tape, and he's like, "Oh yeah, of course, a friend of mine watched the tape, and he woke up dead." And Kevin Hart is like, "How can you wake up dead?" And he's like, "That's what I'm telling you. No, you go to bed and you die, and then you wake up. No, that's what I'm telling you. You woke up dead." It's like, it goes on for like 2 minutes, and it's insane. Can you actually wake up dead? It made me think. It was very, it made me realize that I'm not thinking, enough about this kind of stuff. So yeah,
And whilst we're on cameos, legendary cameo, and I'm so glad, Leslie Nielsen gets brought
legend.
into this
Yeah.
film, and what a legend. I love this guy. He's, was a comedy icon of mine growing up, and
Bringing some prestige to this movie.
yeah, bringing some prestige with some fart jokes. That's what Leslie Nielsen does. But he plays the president, and he's so good in this. And it was like, I think this was again my first sort of introduction to Leslie Nielsen as well. And
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm assuming this guy's done other stuff because he's the funniest fucking guy I've ever seen in my life. And then I'm pretty sure then discovered all of his repertoire.
It is the best, and he's actually one of the first lines that he does in this movie. I think is a reference to another very similar line from one of his movies, when he's like, "Call me the president," and you're like, "But you are the president." Okay, then I know everything already. I think that's from another movie, but like he's just like, "Okay, I'm gonna come here and play the greatest hits. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna be funny the whole way through." And he is. He comes in and just like it runs over the aliens, and then he comes into the basement and kicks the ring girl
He saves the day.
into the well.
He saves the day.
He saves the day, and unknowingly saves the day multiple times in the last half hour, and then fucks off into the sunset. So yeah, he's a
And
legend for that.
He has which is such a good prop gag again when with George and CJ and Anthony Anderson's character outside, they're chatting to the aliens. They're realizing they're not here take
hurt
over the
them,
earth.
yeah.
They're also here to destroy the ring tape because they thought it was Pootie Tang, whatever the fuck that is. I think it's some old
They
porno
watched
or
it, and
something.
the whole civilization is about to die because they watched the
We
tape.
see how they say hello is by putting their finger in other people's mouths, but then you also see how they take a piss. They take a piss out of their finger, and it pans over.
Another
to,
thing that we have in common.
it pans over to Leslie Nielsen, and he's pissing out of his finger. He's like, "So we're not so different after all," and he quickly gives it a shake and hides it away from everyone else, and it's so good.
Just a joy. This movie, like, it works better than the second one because it has less of this simple gross out humor that dominates the second film, and more of this.
It's a bit weirder.
Yeah,
a bit more surreal.
it's more surreal. It plays on cliches a little bit better. Again, all these filmmaking tricks kind of like exposed and made fun of, and all this like and like, you know, again, just taking an iconic scene from a movie, like the scene where Charlie Sheen finds his wife
Oh
pinned
my
to a
God.
tree.
Tom, I'll need a ride home.
The sheriff has to explain to him what happened, and he keeps not understanding. So she keeps taking, like, she initially like takes out like a hot dog for some reason and breaks it in half to
She's like down the middle.
down the middle, and he splits open a sandwich, and he's like, no, at the waist, and then it's like, oh, so
She
the
gets
bottom
a
half.
taco out.
Can I have a couple of minutes with the bottom half, and let me explain? And he takes out a donut and another hot dog, and it's just so unnecessary. Like literally every line is a joke in that scene, and then he goes
So
and
good.
talks to the wife, and the wife, tries to warn him about the future, and he keeps ignoring her because she doesn't want him to have sex anymore, and he's like, oh my God, you're dying, and you're not making any sense.
And they make out, and after he's making out, he pulls out like a light bulb from his mouth because she's been hit by the car. So he's got like a headlamp that he pulls out of his mouth after he gets with her. Just little touches. They really took a lot of attention to detail with this. And something I was going to say, so I watched this when I was really, really young, probably like
Too
kind
young.
of when it first came out. Yeah, way too young. I think this came out when I was like 8 years old. And I went round to my friend's house, and his older brother had it, and so he put it on, and we all watched it. And I remember me and my three mates cowering behind the sofa because this was a genuinely scary film. Like as when you were younger. I don't know how old you were when you watched this, but the Ring Girl, like, they put a lot of effort. They don't make her look like some cosplay shit. Like, she looks like she could be the Ring Girl from the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And genuinely had there's some bits in this film, and I remember because my brother, then showed it to my younger brother, and it used to terrify him as well.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and
the
it's
scene.
just funny to think back.
The scene where Charlie Sheen, and the other guy are outside the farm, and they're like, the dogs are acting strange, and you see the dogs like driving a tractor or getting high. That's fucking
It's like
scary.
smoking bongs. Yeah.
It's fucking scary, man. I understand being scared by that. No,
No, legit.
No.
This film scared me. Even the bit when Pamela Anderson is stupidly, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And she turns
And she's-
Jenny McCarthy round, and she's like petrified, and her head falls off. She's like,
Are you okay? Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
totally
because,
joking.
and
It can
I
be
think-
it can be scary for a younger fella. I was I think in
Yeah.
high school when I watched this, so yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. It's and I think that is what you have to do with parody and satire, and it's why maybe like the superhero genre is something that's got a wealth of like things to satire and parody of. But if you don't have the budget to make it look how it does in the thing you're parodying, it doesn't come off as well sometimes, or you go completely the other direction and make it look terrible, and that's the joke in itself. But I think it's important, if you're parodying a horror film, you got to make it, the cinematography has got to look it's got to look that way.
Yeah.
It's got to look the part to lull you into that false sense of security before the gag then comes in. So it is. I think that's important, and they nail it in this film.
Oh yeah, and just some other bits and pieces that made me laugh when they reveal the alien. You know, like in Signs, the reveal of the alien on the kind of like home video was this very iconic shot of like this alien walking by, and then they replicate it. You see just various shots of like home videos of like horses shitting,
Just walking.
and just a guy in a very bad alien costume walking by very casually, or like to
Front and center of screen, strolling past,
and
and then cut back to Jeremy Piven in the news decks, and he's like, very disturbing images.
or also when just very quick, just very silly stuff like Anna Faris and Regina Hall, they come back from the rap battle, which actually was really cool. It's like the rap battle.
It was great. Like George fucking kills it.
Genuinely good rap battle there. But like they come back and they're just like eating from a giant tub of ice cream for no reason, and it's like a 1 second
Yeah.
gag, and there's so many things like that. It's again, it's just a joke in every shot philosophy, and it really pays off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work. Not every silly thing that happens is funny, but just the sheer volume of jokes, I think, is quite impressive. I was honestly surprised by this one, especially. I don't know if the fact that I didn't enjoy the second one as much as I hoped kind of like skewed my judgment of this one, but I do feel like this is a fun parody movie. You know, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it's at least on par with the first one in terms of laughs, and even better in some occasions. And like just the fact that it has Leslie Nielsen in it and George Carlin and Kevin Hart, it just makes it maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think as time's gone on and as I've got older, this one keeps increasing in how much I like it above the others. And for me, I think Scary Movie 3 is the benchmark when it comes to the franchise. It's definitely my favorite. Has my favorite gags in it, and it's probably the most consistent story-wise, as opposed to any of the others, which I think does help to a degree.
It kind of has a story, and they find a way to connect the alien storyline with a possessed videotape storyline, which is impressive, I guess. So, you know, do you hear that, Wayan brothers? Do you have anything that is as good as this for the new one? I hope you do. I think, you know, if the first one is a 7, I guess this one is a 7.5 or a 8 for the kind of movie that it is. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, fair. I think I'd go 8, maybe even 8.5 for this one,
There you go.
and that's on my critical scale as well.
All right.
Not just my fun scale,
Yeah.
Tommy.
So
But this is a new thing that's been established, the fun scale.
So if you ever rate something like, I don't know, Mulholland Drive, we'll know how it compares on your scale.
If Mulholland Drive is a 7.5 out of 10, it's not as good as Scary Movie 3. Yeah, I stand by
There
it.
you go. You showed your cards, man.